I was sitting at JFK Airport yesterday afternoon, and as you know, what happened is the FAA grounded the French commuter planes because they're unsafe in certain conditions. And during the 3 hours I sat there, I started to laugh to myself. I thought, here's a government agency that can ground a plane because it's unsafe. Why can no one ground recovered memory therapy? The lounge security people ultimately let me go when I explained what I was laughing about. All of the things that you've heard about for the last several days, and especially the thanks to the False Memory Syndrome Foundation, I would echo on behalf of both the lawyers that I deal with and share information with, and also the clients that I started to defend about 4 years ago that started to be different than the other criminal cases that I had previously defended. And essentially what happened was, like most criminal defense lawyers, and yes, I'm very busy and I've been blessed with a lot of good fortune, but most of our clients are guilty. The system can only make so many mistakes, no matter how hard it tries, and so a fairly significant percentage of the people we represent are guilty. And they're a pleasure to defend. They can tell us what they did. They can help us where the weaknesses, the strengths are. They actually know what the police are talking about, what the allegations are about, and generally they say, look, I realize there's evidence against me. Do the best you can, and if we don't win, I understand. As I explain to clients, if we win, I did it. If we lose, you blew it. That's the way we do it, you see. And but then about 4 years ago, I started to see a different kind of case. I started to see a kind of case where the people would come in and they looked a lot like you. And I don't know if you've looked in the mirror lately, but you're not a representative cross-section of the population of North America. You tend to be a little bit older, better looking, I agree. You tend to be older, generally white, generally above average incomes, generally better educated than most. And this is not your average criminal. And there are also some other astounding differences. You didn't seem to know very much about what was going on. You had kind of this vague idea that you were being accused of terrible things, but often lacked specifics as to what you were supposed to have done. And also your affect, is that a psychiatric term? Affect, okay. I only know two psychiatric terms, affect and billable hour, which is about 45 minutes, as I understand it, which is 4 times the length of a lawyer's billable hour, by the way. So the affect also wasn't like other clients. You didn't sort of sit there calmly. You were often in hysterics. You often couldn't talk about it without breaking down. And I'm just a lawyer. What is going on here? This is not normal. Now, fortunately, I've always had a wicked sense of humor, so I often join things and read stuff that normal people don't. And so for several years beforehand, I had read literature from skeptics organizations. And skeptics organizations have known for a long time how really dumb human beings can be. I don't know if you know this, but there is nothing too stupid that someone will not believe it and form a club about it. Okay? So I knew all about past life regressions and UFO abductions. although the UFOs never gave frequent flyer points, I noticed, which I thought would have proved that they existed. So I knew all this, and as I started to get into these cases, I recognized the procedures. It was obvious. You had vulnerable, suggestible people going through a process in which they learn something. They learn a certain set of beliefs and behaviors. Human beings have been doing this ever since the first cave shrink, I guess. There's nothing new about this. Well, that's fine. I understood it, and I did my best to help the clients, but can you imagine what this is like doing all this on your own? I mean, if I stand up and say, Judge, you know, psychiatry is a bit of a scam, and it's really not scientific, and it's just made up, the judge will look at me like I'm crazy. Mr. Gold, these are respectable people. They teach at Harvard University. How could you say such a thing? Well, and if I stood up and said, you know, Judge, you know, memory's not like a tape recorder, or I guess a VCR now. It's not like a VCR. You actually, because I know this from my own experience, I constantly rewrite my history, depending on how I want to imagine myself from day to day. You know, if I'm happy, I can write a wonderful high school experience for myself. If I'm depressed, I had a miserable high school experience. I mean, any intelligent person knows that you can be whatever you want to be in your history. But if I tell a judge that, he'll look at, Mr. Gold, what are you? You're just like a lawyer. You don't know about this stuff. Well, to cut to the chase, as they say, what saved my bacon and what saved my client's bacon was the foundation. Because look at what a lawyer has to know to properly defend these cases. A lawyer has to know all about memory, suggestibility. A lawyer has to know the legitimate critiques of psychiatry. A lawyer has to know about the proper boundaries of therapy. All of the things you've heard about for 2 days. Where, if I hadn't had the foundation to go to get all this information in short order, people might unfairly be in jail now. So that's how I look at it. That's why I'm delighted whatever I can do to support the foundation. As a source, of all this objective scientific knowledge, that's been the foundation's greatest. And I also read a lot of Isaac Asimov, so I love saying the foundation. And I'm waiting for someone to form the second empire, okay? And then, but seriously, so I thank the foundation. Those of you who have never been criminally charged, consider yourselves lucky, because in the States it's mainly been civil suits, but in Canada we've had a significant number of criminal cases. You can imagine how terrible it is. The foundation and the information and the experts, such as the ones you've heard speak, have helped to, I think, turn the tide and to make a lot of judges and lawyers much more knowledgeable about the science and what they have to know to properly defend these cases. So I'm delighted to have finally made it here, and I'm delighted to have had a chance to speak to you and to thank the foundation publicly. Thank you.